The American Revolution, also known as the U.S. War of Independence, gave the 13 colonies freedom from Great Britain. It started at Lexington and Concord in April 1775 because the colonists were angry at their controlling king. Britain is what is called a monarchy, which means that they are ruled by Parliament and represented by a king and queen. A parliament is a group of people that make rules and regulations for a country. The colonists arrived in Virginia in 1607, and the first permanent English colony was formed in Jamestown. Colonists kept arriving to this new land, and eventually the 13 colonies were formed. The 13 colonies were Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Georgia, Connecticut, Massachusetts Bay, Maryland, South Carolina, New Hampshire, Virginia, New York, North Carolina, and Rhode Island. Though the settlers were living across the sea and were forming their own colonies, they were still ruled by their king. In 1770, British soldiers fired upon the colonists, killing 5 of them. This became known as the Boston Massacre. Laws such as the Stamp Act of 1765 and the Tea Act of 1773 were passed and angered the colonists. The Tea Act resulted in the Boston Tea Party, which colonists dressed up as Mohawk Indians and snuck onto an English ship and dumped the tea into the ocean. The colonists felt that they had no say in the laws their parliament passed. They demanded for more representation in parliament, but the king would not listen to their protests. In September 1774, George Washington, John Adams, Samuel Adams, Patrick Henry, and John Jay met in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This became known as the First Continental Congress. They decided that every citizen had certain rights: life, liberty, property, assembly, and trial of jury. Not even a year later, in April of 1775, the first shots were fired in Lexington and Concord, marking the start of the American Revolution. The Second Continental Congress met in May of 1775, and 2 new people were added to this committee: Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson. This Congress voted to have George Washington serve as the Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army. Washington's army struggled through winters against a bigger, better-trained army. Finally, they gained some slack when they captured weapons during the Battle of Fort Ticonderoga in New York. The British army retreated, led by William Howe, to Canada to prepare for a major invasion. In June 1776, the Revolutionary War was in total effect, and the majority of the colonists were in agreement that they wanted freedom from the British. On July 4, 1776, the Continental Congress voted in the Declaration of Independence. This was written by Thomas Jefferson, but Benjamin Franklin and John Adams helped. All members of the Continental Congress signed this document, but the war kept raging, with major victories and losses on both sides. During the winter at Valley Forge, Washington had a chance to fully train his army, and because of that, the Continental Army benefited greatly. On October 19, 1781, Lord Charles Cornwallis surrendered his army to Washington and the Continental Army. Though America had won the war, British troops stayed in the colonies until late in 1782. Finally, on September 3, 1783, Great Britain recognized the independence of the United States in the Treaty of Paris. The British also signed treaties with France and Spain, who had helped out the Americans, officially ending the war. After 8 long years of fighting and loss of life, the colonists finally got what they wanted: freedom.